Oh, the sweet, sweet irony. It was so close. It was that close. You see, I made a video not that long ago about Alex O'Connor, cosmic skeptic, world-renowned atheist, and Wes Huff. And in the video, I talk about Alex's apologetic for his atheistic beliefs, especially when it comes to his theological perspectives on the Bible, where he talks about a mythological development of Jesus over a period of time for him to become God, because the early synoptics have him not as God, but as, the Son of God. And the thing is that he later gets deified, all right? Similar to other sort of Greek mythological characters. Anyway, if you want to watch that video, I'm just going to leave it here, a little snapshot of it, and you can check it out. However, the thing that I posed in this video was the idea that Jesus is portrayed as God in Mark, the earliest gospel that we have. And the way I demonstrate that, which is the most difficult point to defend from an atheistic standpoint, is that Jesus, in front of Caiaphas, he gets charged with blasphemy. He says, "You will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven, seated at the right hand of power." Now, this is the thing. The great Bart Ehrman, if he can't answer that question, which he couldn't, I put a clip of that, of Bart Ehrman answering that. The idea that he's not sure why he's charged with being blasphemous, because it's not blasphemy to claim to be a Messiah. And so this is the whole thing. I posed the question back to Alex, because if he can analyze as to why he was charged with blasphemy, and if anyone could ask him that question, then he may have to revisit his whole apologetic, his whole theological perspectives about the idea of a mythological later development of Jesus becoming God, if he did claim to be God in the book of Mark. And the idea, it's the blasphemy question. Why was he charged with blasphemy? If he didn't claim to be God, what was it? And so Alex just did a video about, atheists versus 20 or 25 Christians. I'll leave the link of that video below, and I've taken a snip. And the sweet, sweet irony is that a Mormon asked the question, but because of his presuppositions in terms of the deity and the nature of Jesus and a non-Trinitarian perspective, he actually doesn't nail Alex down because of his own biases. And that's the irony of it all. And we'll be able to review this clip right now, and we'll talk about why it's such an impactful point. But let's check it out, and then we'll review it.
In the Synoptic Gospels, is the charge of blasphemy given against Jesus?
Yes.
Absolutely, right?
Yes, yeah.
Can you be given the charge of blasphemy merely for claiming to be the Messiah?
Well, let's find out. In the book of Acts, St. Stephen has a vision before the Pharisees. What vision does he have? He looks up before the Pharisees and he says, "I can see God, and I can see Jesus sat at the right hand of God." Separating Jesus and God, what do the Pharisees do? They stone him to death for blasphemy. So we know that you didn't have to claim that Jesus was identical to God in order to be stoned for blasphemy.
How about...
You know what's funny? It's the perfect answer that you go back to with to a Mormon. Alex just nails it down. He doesn't have to be God. And it shows that if he's at the right hand of power, Stephen sees him in Acts and confirms he's at the right hand. So he's not identical to God. Therefore, he's not. He can't be Yahweh, or he can't be the representation of the same essence as the Father. And this Mormon apologist just moves right past it. And he goes to the next question, because in his own view, they are separate. They're three separate gods. Okay, that the Father actually made Jesus and Satan, and he was the creator, the spiritual offspring. Jesus, the spiritual offspring of the Father. And so this is the irony of it all. Okay, the reason why it's such an impactful point, what Jesus says, and in that previous video, I won't rehash too much, but it's the idea that Jesus quoted Daniel 7 and Psalm 110, and it's an unequivocal statement that Jesus is equal with the Father, that he is the one that is going to reign supreme in heaven with the Father, that he is co-equal and co-eternal in his reigning over the kingdoms, right? In his spiritual reign in heaven and the spiritual reign on earth. And that is a seat only for Yahweh. Only Yahweh is on the throne. Only the Father is on the throne. You see, this is the interesting part of it all, is that in Mormon theology and this is the irony, the Mormon theology is that Yahweh in the flesh is Jesus, but it's a creation of the Father. And so that he also agrees that they're not identical, and Jesus doesn't have to identify as God because, they're separate beings. But see, within the Jewish monotheistic presuppositions, only Yahweh is king. Only Yahweh is on the throne. Only Yahweh reigns. To claim equality with the Father, To claim equality and to say that you're equal with God, that is a blasphemous statement. That is you inferring that you are divine, that you are co-equal with the Father. You are also God. But the thing is this, in a Trinitarian presupposition, is that we believe that the Father and the Son are separate, that they're not identical in personhood, but in nature, in essence, they are. And so this is how we start with this idea, even in John 1. You'll find that in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. And the JWs translate it to was a God, because lacks the article. Instead of hotheos, it's just theos, which, there's always an article prior to the introduction as God as the Father, right? The God. And that's why they put a God, because of the lack of the article. But see, what John is trying to demonstrate there is that the Father and the Son are not identical. In personhood, they are separate. Otherwise, he'd be advocating for modalism if he put the article there. That was the point of it in John 1. And that's why we see the imperfect tense of the word ein, was, which it shows continuous past action, that the Logos made flesh, Jesus, is the eternal Logos. Before the beginning, he was already there. That's what the actual scripture is saying. En arche ein o Logos. Before the beginning, Jesus was already there. At the time the beginning began, the word was there. And so, in this response with Alex, is that he asked them, why was he charged with blasphemy? Is it blasphemous, to be Messiah only? And he so eloquently puts back on this Mormon apologist that the idea that they're not identical, and even the idea of a blasphemous charge of saying that they're not identical, yet he's on the throne, is the reason why Stephen was stoned. And that's the irony. Stephen is confirming that Jesus is at the right hand of power, the seat of authority. All authority on heaven and earth has been given to him. He's the one that's reigning with the Father. That's blasphemous. He's equal with the Father. Jesus is equal with the Father. That's what Jesus said. That's why he was charged with blasphemy. That's him declaring his deity, his equality with the Father, which is absolutely a blasphemous statement. And then on top of that, Stephen affirms that he actually saw him on the throne, at the right hand of power. That's what it means, at the right hand. This is the seat of authority. He is actually confirming the equality that the Son has with the Father, that they are co-equal, co-eternal, that they are two persons of the Godhead. And we see confirmation of the Spirit of God lying to the Spirit, to the Holy Spirit, who is God, lying to God, which Peter affirms that in Acts also. That's Luke himself now confirming the Trinity. That's Luke confirming the deity of the Son. And so this is the irony, is that the Mormon can't come back. He can't come back towards Alex. And Alex is that he's just saying, he kind of just swerved out of the point, is that Alex just said that, okay, well, he doesn't have to be identical in order for it to be blasphemous, but he doesn't realize what he's saying. He's saying he's equal with him. He's not saying that his personhood and identity is the same. He's saying that he is equal with the Father, as God, as reigning in authority and power, all glory, all dominion, every nation, every kingdom shall bow, serve, and worship him. And even later on, he sort of talks about this point in terms of the term of worship. Anyway, super interesting, super fascinating, and we were this close for Alex being able to account. Like, he did answer it, but the Trinitarian would have come back and shown him, hey, if he didn't claim to be God or to be equal with the Father, where's the blasphemy? Alex kind of confirmed that you can not be identical with the Father and have a blasphemy charge that's unrelated to Messiahship. But so, okay, if that's the case, where's the blasphemy? Why did Caiaphas tear his robe? This is the irony. And the Mormon had nothing to say about it because he believes that they are totally separate, that they're not unified in essence as the same nature of the Godhead. So super intriguing. We're this close, and I think if someone out there can circulate this video, let's get Alex's response in regards to why Jesus was charged with blasphemy if he's not identical with the Father, which Trinitarians agree they're not identical in personhood, but he's claiming equality with the Father. So how is him equal with God not claiming he is God? This is the whole point. So yeah, let's keep praying for Alex and check it out. And I'll just leave with this little clip that the Mormon says at the end there, which is super intriguing. Let's just see what the finishing words were. I forget this guy's name, but he's a pretty good apologist.
Overall, it was a really great experience. If I were to give my totally honest opinion, I think it was that Alex O'Connor was able to kind of destroy a lot of creedal Christianity because of the weaknesses in the creedal Christian position. And as a Latter-day Saint, I couldn't help but feel like I think we have things that can help solve a lot of the problems that Alex has with creedal Christianity.
I mean, it's a bit unfair. I mean, you've got these amateur guys going up against the likes of Alex O'Connor, one of the best atheistic apologists there is. So it's not fair. And this guy is one of the best Mormonism has to offer. And he allowed Alex to skirt out of the question, to maneuver out of it, because he doesn't hold to Trinitarianism. He agrees that the Father is totally separate from the Son, but he didn't actually nail Alex down as to, okay, where's the blasphemy charge? He's claiming that he is equal with God at the same level. But see, they don't believe that either. They believe he's subordinationism, so he couldn't come back at him. But Jesus is claiming equality with the Father. Daniel 7, Psalm 110, that's why Caiaphas tears the robe. So why blasphemy? Where's the blasphemy? If he's not equal with the Father, then where's the blasphemy? So anywho, give this a like, give this a subscribe. Really appreciate you share this content. And yeah, God bless.